am pale, Rachel reminded her. Rachel, her mother said pointedly, you need to take your myalgic encephalomyelitis seriously. Rachel rolled her eyes. Outside, the gentle snow was gathering into a full-blown storm. Dr. Rubenstein was probably one of the few people who called Rachel's disease by its medical term, the name research scientists and experts preferred, describing the complex multi-system disease that affected her neurological, immune, autonomic, and metabolic systems. Most everyone else in the world knew it by the simple and distasteful moniker, chronic fatigue syndrome, which was, quite possibly, the most trivializing name for a disease in the entire world, the equivalent of calling Alzheimer's senior moment syndrome. It did not begin to remotely describe the crushing fatigue, migraines, brain fog, or weirdo pains that Rachel lived with daily. It certainly did not describe the 25% of patients who found themselves bedbound or homebound, existing on feeding tubes, unable to leave dark rooms for years, or the 75% of patients who could no longer work full-time. For now, however, Rachel was one of the lucky ones. She had managed to graduate college with a degree in creative writing and, over the last decade, build a career working from home. "Ima," Rachel said, growing frustrated. "My body, my choice, but change the topic." Dr. Rubenstein pressed her lips together and swallowed the words on her tongue. It was not an easy feat for the woman. "And how's work?" "Good," Rachel shrugged, returning to the couch. "Nothing that interesting to report." "And the freelance work you're doing?" Her mother craned her neck to peep around her apartment. "It's keeping you busy?" "Busy enough." Dr. Rubenstein raised one eyebrow in her daughter's direction. Rachel knew what her mother was really asking. How can you afford a 2-bedroom apartment on the Upper West Side simply by doing freelance editorial work? But Dr. Rubenstein had learned an important halacha lesson from her husband, Rabbi Aaron Goldblatt, early on in their marriage. You don't ask questions you don't really want the answers to. For all Rachel knew, her mother believed her to be a webcam girl, or a high-class prostitute, or the mistress of some dashingly handsome Arabian prince, all of which Rachel was certain would be preferable to what she actually did for a living. "Ima," Rachel said, steering the conversation away from her career. "What is it you're really here for?" "Why do you always think I have an ulterior motive, Rachel?" "Because I know you." "All right," Dr. Rubenstein threw her hands up into the air. "You caught me. I do have an ulterior motive. Baruch Hashem. Now, it's nothing bad, I promise," her mother said, taking a seat on her couch. "I simply wanted to see if you were available for Shabbat dinner this Friday." There it was, the real reason for her mother's visit. Shabbat at Rabbi Goldblatt's house was not just a weekly religious occurrence. It was a chance for Dr. Rubenstein to kidnap her daughter for 25 hours straight and force her to meet single Jewish men. Over the years, there had been all sorts of horrible setups. There was the luxury auto dealer who used his sleeve as a napkin during dinner, the rabbinical student who spent an entire Saturday afternoon debating aloud with only her father over what to do when an unkosher meatball falls into a pot of kosher meatballs. And then there was her favorite blind date setup of them all, Dovi, the Israeli mountain climber who had traveled the world in his perfectly healthy and functioning body, before telling Rachel that he didn't think chronic fatigue syndrome was a real disease. Chas v'chalila. Rachel had no intention of spending another Friday night and Saturday afternoon entertaining her mother's idea of a dreamboat, especially not when that dreamboat had the word Titanic embroidered across the bottom of their knitted kippah. "No," Rachel said. "Rachel," her mother pleaded, "just hear me out. I'm too busy, Ima. But you haven't been home in ages." "You live on Long Island," Rachel shot back. "I see you and Daddy all the time." Her mother could not argue with this factoid. "Jacob Greenberg will be coming," her mother finally said. Rachel nearly choked on her tongue. "What? You remember Jacob Greenberg?" The question sounded so innocent on the surface. Jacob Greenberg. How could Rachel forget the name? The duo had spent one summer together at Camp Ahava in the Berkshires before the 7th grade.